Dr. Jenna Scare, better known as DocJenFit, and I want to go over my top 3 hip strengthening exercises when you feel like you have really tight hip flexors. Because here's the thing, the brain only knows one thing, and that's safety. So if it doesn't feel safe in a range of motion, safe within your body, it's gonna grab on really tight. And then as much stretching or opening or digging that you do to try to get those hip flexors to release, it might do it for a minute or maybe even a day, but then it's gonna go right back to that safety position. So rather than just trying to stretch those chronically tight hamstrings, we actually want to strengthen them. So follow along in these next 3 exercises as I take you through my top and my favorite ones. So first things first, you're gonna need a little band. So this one, I usually use bands from Hope Fitness. I'll drop a link below, and I even have a discount code that you can use as well. But this is like a little pull-up band, resistance band. Okay, there's different thicknesses. I'm gonna use a really light one, so I'm not super struggling in front of you right now. But all you're gonna do is wrap it around something that's not going to move. So you can do it around the couch, you can do it around a chair if it is not going to move. Sometimes I put it on a weight and then I close the door so that the weight is behind with the strap, and then make sure that the weight's not gonna come towards you. So many ways that you can use it. Ultimately, we're just gonna put the foot right inside, and you can also hold on to something, so whether it's a wall or something around you, so that you make sure that you're nice and stable and you're not just balancing through the exercise. So this one, I'm now going to put a little bit of resistance, and I want to make sure that I'm far enough away that I have a little bit of extension with that resistance, okay? So I'm already kind of in an extended position. Now, before I even begin the exercise, I want to make sure I align what's happening with my rib cage and my pelvis. If I'm starting the exercise from here and just doing this, yes, I am getting into my hip flexors, but not in the functional way, especially if you're feeling like you have tight hip flexors and you have that anterior pelvic tilt. Well, let's actually strengthen in an effective way that's going to create true carryover for when you're walking or any other time that you feel that tightness kind of grab on. So instead of this position, I want to actually, you can do an exhale and kind of bring that rib cage down over the pelvis. At the same time, the pelvic bone is going to come up toward the rib cage. So it's going to look like this. Okay, and this is actually where you want to be. You don't want to be rounded, okay, but you want to be level. So kind of check what's happening. You can do this in front of a mirror. You can record yourself so you can kind of see what is happening from my rib cage to my pelvis, okay? Then you're going to try to hold this position. So it's going to be a little bit of an ab workout as well. And now with this already nice and tight, maybe your bum is tight because it's getting you back into that extension, you're gonna nice and slowly just bring that knee up as high as you can tolerate, and then really slowly, I want you to come down. It's the slow lengthening that actually helps to increase flexibility in the muscle as you strengthen it. So a great tip is to do long, slow lowers in order to get that hip flexor to truly do the stretching and the work. Now, if you want to step out a little bit more, put a little bit more tension, you can always do that as well. Lifting and then nice and slowly lowering it back down. Okay, you'll find that you're gonna fatigue really quickly. It might even be a little painful at the top because you're not used to that extreme range. So don't go as high, okay? Listen to your body. It's not gonna look the same as mine. It's not gonna look the same as your partner. You want it to be your own individual exercise, okay? So maybe you're only doing about 5 to 8 of them to start. Maybe you're only doing about 2 sets to start. Again, listen to your body. It's totally fine. The best thing that you can do, start small and then build it up over time consistently, okay? Next, we're gonna keep this foot in the band and we're gonna try hip circles. So now we're gonna see what that range feels like within that hip, especially when it's under load. So again, can I align this? Keep it nice and tight here, and then lift Nice and slow, go until I feel like, ooh, it's getting a lot of work. Then I'm gonna try to open it out without moving my body. So I'm gonna try to keep my body really stable as I open from that hip and then lower really slowly here. And then I'm gonna try to draw that knee out as I keep the opposite hip back. So much is working in my hip right now. And then I pull it back in and then I lower it down. So especially think of going into a squat. You're usually not here all the time, right? Especially if you want to get lower, you're going to be here. So you actually want the strength of the hip flexors to be able to bring you down as well. So this is super functional for what we truly need within the body. And this I only recommend starting with about 3 circles each direction and then releasing and only doing about 1 set because it's going to fatigue. It's going to feel really tiring, especially in the beginning. Last exercise, I'm going to kick off this band. And all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lift it up and then as high as I can passively go. And then I'm gonna try to really, again, that long, slow, lower, okay? So I'm gonna lift it up and then I'm gonna try to, almost like you're holding it. And you're just gonna slowly lower. So this is really gonna help, especially if you're like going upstairs and you accidentally miss a step and you get a big pull right into that hip flexor area. Rather than straining the hip flexor, we can be strong in the hip flexor so you don't end up with any strains or pains later on. So comment below, let me know what you're feeling when you do this. Maybe you're only starting with the last one because you're gonna wait for the band to come. But try this out, see how it feels within your body. Keep strengthening, keep moving, keep learning. Make sure to comment below, subscribe so you don't miss out on any videos in the future, and let me know what you're liking and what you'd like to learn in the future.